Ready? Okay, good evening, afternoon, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. It is 5 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order. This is the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting for October 19th, 2021. First order of business is approval of the minutes of the August 17th meeting.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there discussion or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
No nays. The minutes are approved. And the last remaining item of business is Patrick Berman is here to review development proposals submitted for 8447 North 56th Street, located in the downtown redevelopment area. Welcome, Mr. Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is the microphone supposed to be lifted up, or can you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay.
I'm sorry?
That's a light.
Oh, interesting, okay.
Yeah.
Technology, advanced, very nice. Hi.
We're high tech.
Very nice. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Patrick Berman, Cushman and Wakefield. We have two offers to look at this afternoon, and I don't believe the first group is here yet. So I was talking to Mr. Pauly, to suggest that I could just walk you through the offer, if that's okay.
Okay.
And let's see if I can work the slide projector as well.
Did you want to go through your summary first, or do you want to do?
That's interesting. So we have two offers. I thought we'd go one at a time. Just its first offer first, and then go from there. So the first offer is from U.S. American Corp. That's Mr. Hamad. He'll be here soon, I hope. And Mr. Hamad is a Temple Terrace resident, and he owns numerous properties, including assets on 56th Street and Sly. So he is a local resident, local business owner, and certainly a highly qualified investor, developer. So if we're looking at his broker's name is Nick, who's also not here. Okay, so I'm on my own, all right. So here's existing property, and as I drove by this afternoon, the Curry Bowl restaurant, the vacant restaurant, is still standing, although it's in pretty poor shape, as we know, and I believe that any development is better than what we have now, unfortunately. So we have two good proposals to redevelop this site. It's 1.74 acres. It wraps around the beauty supply store at River Hills and 56th. And there are two options to develop. I'm not sure in order. So here's the current Curry Bowl looking at the front view. And I believe it's been closed for at least a year. So several years, yes. And with the heat and everything else in Florida, really you have, it's a tear down. They really demolish this building, most likely. Foundations can be saved, but the rest of the building, I'd say, has had it. And here's another view of it from the top angle. And one more. So really, there are one offer from this group, but two different proposals, two options for development of the site. The first being to redevelop the existing restaurant space. So renovate, repair, update the restaurant building, and build a rectangular strip center, retail strip behind to the east, which would be retail, medical office, restaurants. Here's a good look at it. So the existing building would be renovated, and you'd have this rectangular shaped strip east of the property. So it's a good use of the space. It maximizes the site. You have good parking ratio, good visibility. So it's a good looking plan, and it makes sense. It's viable. The second option would be to tear down the restaurant, which is probably the better option, and build an L-shaped retail property. When I say retail, I mean retail, office, medical tenants, restaurants, all the above, commercial strip center, L-shaped configuration. So that really is it in a nutshell. The offer came in at $700,000 with a $35,000 deposit, inspection period of 30 days, and then closing 30 days thereafter. So I would submit that the deposit's good, the timing is good, the price is low. We're asking $1 million. This is 70% of asking price. So that's where we stand with this offer. The group is, as I said, highly qualified. Their purchase price is 30% below ask. Okay. So I would cede that if Nick wants to speak, I just got the process going here. If you wanted to step up and maybe explain your offer.
Too fast.
I can stand here and tell you about my trip to Canada last week.
Can you repeat for me, what was the other proposals?
We just got to your proposal. We just did.
No, but you're supposed, I guess, we're supposed to know what is you said you're gonna mention the both proposals, the both offers.
Well, we have two proposals. You're the first one.
Okay,
So we've already talked about your proposal. We've already talked about your proposal, the layout. So did you want to talk
No,
about
I
it some
thought you
more?
were gonna yesterday when I spoke to you, you said you're gonna present the two offers. Then I'm gonna come and make my offer on.
Well, it's up to the council to decide. I can do it one at a time. I can do both. It's really up to the council. I thought we do one at a time.
I prefer really if the council, after your authorization, bring it up, but, you know,
It's fine with us as long as we have enough time. What we can't do is hear from everybody twice. So if he's gonna pass until after we've heard both, then the other applicant should pass until after we've heard both also.
Understood. So should I go through the slides for the second proposal? Because that's,
If that's what you wanna do, you can go through, present all of it to us, and then give each of them equal opportunity to talk at that point.
so, sorry, so if I may suggest, I've already given an overview of the first offer. Let me provide an overview of the second offer, and then I'll cede this podium to
Well, you,
present.
the other, I'm assuming this is the other
Yes, you have
offer.
Mr.
Well, you
Singh.
guys would pretty much be talking around the same time anyway, so is this okay with you?
Yeah, anything's okay. We have a ready-made proposal.
Okay, because we wouldn't hear from you until after your presentation anyway, so what we'll do is hear the overview of yours, like we just heard of theirs.
Sure.
And then we'll let him talk about his and let you talk about yours, and how's that?
Yeah.
Is that agreeable to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Mr. Broom?
Okay, this one, when I press play, it does its own thing. It plays like a movie.
Understood. So
Council, is that okay with everybody? Okay. Should have asked you first, I'm sorry.
We were all nodding our heads.
Okay.
Ryan, can you bring up the next one?
Good evening, Sir Mayor, council members, city staff, and members of the public. We are now to begin the presentation to offer purchase of the property located at 8447 North 56th Street, Temple Terrace, also known as South Parcel. We, Enigma, are the owners and developers of 8633 North 56th Street, Temple Terrace, also known as North Parcel. Our current development at North Parcel has south fronts on all four sides of the property. Being the owner of North Parcel, developing South Parcel not only gives us the liberty to have cross access between the two parcels, but also allows us to use the parking space on the south shop fronts. We now begin with the first proposal of the two proposals submitted. Proposal 1. We propose a purchase price of $911,000. Earnest money of $90,000 would be deposited
We're having a bit of a technical issue.
within 15 days of the effective date of the contract. A second deposit of $90,000 will be deposited within 5 days of the expiration of the due diligence period. The total deposit of $180,000 will then be non-refundable. Closing will take place no later than 180 days. We propose to build a single-story commercial building, more or less 17,000 square feet. This building will look similar to the development on North Parcel. Single-level retail commercial building, which may be leased to a single tenant or divided in multiple stores and leased to multiple tenants. Final site plans will be submitted within 6 months of the purchase date, and construction will begin within 6 months from the date the site plans are submitted. The construction period will be 10 to 36 months. Proposal 2. We propose a purchase price of $925,000. Earnest money of $92,500 would be deposited within 5 days of the effective date of contract. Due diligence period allocated is 270 days. A second deposit of $92,500 will be deposited within 5 days of the expiration of the due diligence period. The total deposit of $185,000 will then be non-refundable. Closing will take place no later than 275 days. As Enigma was previously chosen to develop this land, a significant due diligence has already been completed. Surveys on north, south, and pond parcels are already in place. Multiple meetings with SwiftMud, TECO, in-house civil engineers, architects, land surveyors, general contractors, city staff, and many others affiliated with this project. The proposed development is divided in two sections, east side and south side. East side would be a mixed-use commercial residential building with retail commercial on the first level and residential apartments on the second level onwards. These kind of developments are often seen in downtown of other cities. The south development would be a multi-level, 100-plus car garage with a 5,000 square foot convention center and a hotel. North and south development would be connected via proposed walking bridge for access from the car garage to the residential apartments. There would be a separate driveway entrance for all residential apartments, which will avoid interference with the allocated commercial spaces. A walkway is proposed between Chicago and River Hills Drive, which will also be connected to the existing city walkway. This would form a continuous walkway path where members of the public would have over half a mile of walking track in the middle of the downtown area with a beautified pond view. In order to complete this development, we would have to relocate the only existing overhead TECO lines in the downtown Temple Terrace area. We would also have to relocate the existing city sewage line connecting from Chicago Avenue to River Hills Drive. A retention wall would be built 15 feet away from the pond. Land would then be filled and compacted to acquire the designated elevations. Vertical construction can then begin. We look forward to beginning the site work within 6 months after closing, which includes the retention wall, removal of trees, removal and relocating of utility lines, and grading to achieve pad-ready site. Vertical construction will start within 12 months of final site plan approval and may take 18 to 48 months to complete. As developers, we are committed to timely completion of the proposed development. However, the prevailing pandemic has resulted in everyday challenges impacting the construction industry. As you may be aware, there is a shortage of building materials, labor, contractors in the country. Enigma Group is not willing to accept any delay penalties on the above proposed timeline. These commercial projects need high rent-based income to sustain. In order to make this a commercially feasible project, we ask a 10-year tax exemption starting from the day that the certificate of occupancy is issued, waiver on all tree mitigation charges, waiver on all impact fees, waiver on all permit review or issue charges on any work that is part of the development, irrevocable easement over the land indicated in the drawing that is between the pond and the development. This project will not only enhance our city looks and demographics, but will generate tremendous employment and city revenue. We thank you for the opportunity to present our proposal. We are now open for questions.
Okay, so, Mr. Berman, anything to add to any of this before we hear from the applicant?
Yes, if I may, if we have enough
Sure.
time, I was going to say that this is development, one option, option A, option B. The option A makes sense to me. It's a quick closing, it's cash, it's limited cost to the city. The second proposal is going to be very onerous. A 10-year waiver of real estate taxes, waiving the inspection fees, waiving all the impact fees. It's a huge ask. So I would, in my opinion, I would suggest the council focus on the option A, the first most basic deal, which is $911,000, and a quick closing, a 6 month from contract to closing, $911,000 versus the higher price, $925,000, with all these city incentives given. To me, it's very easy to, I would discount the second proposal and focus on the first. That's what I would suggest to you, is both proposals are good. Group A with the $700,000, as I mentioned, is off the price. Group B is $211,000 higher. So I think you have to consider both, of course. But I would say the second proposal we saw, I would focus on the first option only. And I would cede to the other presenters if Mr. Hamad wants to.
Before you, any questions for Mr. Berman before we hear from the applicants? Okay. Okay, very good.
Thank you.
So I'm seeing that we have about 40 minutes, so, or is it, can you do your presentations in about 10 minutes or less? Is that? I'm not, or how long do you guys think you'll need?
Our presentation is already there, just questions and answers.
Okay, okay. So let's try to hold it till like 10 minutes or so that we have enough time to have a meaningful discussion if we can. So you're up first, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I guess I'm a familiar face here. I've been here a few times. Charles and the mayor, this is the first time I met with you. But anyway, my name is Nick Rifai. I represent Mr. Hamad on that corner site, 8447 on 56th Street. We proposing Plan A, Plan B. And we know there is a need for like a clubhouse, which is a restaurant with a clubhouse for special event to about like 20 people, 30 people sometimes, the gathering and serving food. And because the property is irregular, it's not a square, it's not rectangular, it's not a triangle, it got so much waves all around it, and it's very hard to design something there. So we came up with two options, A and B. Option A is to keep the restaurant, of course, after the inspection, after recommendation from the engineering. If we can build on that property or renovation, do a full renovation, which is include take the whole roof out and raise it up extra few feet to make higher roofing, ceiling, and of course the AC and all full renovation, except just keep the walls. And then we can build a small mixed use, a small building in the back for some needies, like maybe barber shop, maybe, some mixed use. And now, if the engineering came up and said, no, we cannot build that, or we cannot renovate that building, or it's going to cost so much, so we'll probably have to demolish that building and go to Plan B. And Plan B required to go ahead and build an L shape, because we cannot do it a straight shape, because it's hard. It's hard to do the square footage if you go in a straight. So we decided to do it like an L shape. And that will give us about 22 to 25,000 square feet. Hopefully, after the final engineering say so, but we approximate. I'm saying approximate, could be between 20 to 25. And that will be a mixed use, of course, and we might have restaurant and barber shop and jewelry store and, mix. Now, we made a proposal earlier for $700,000 due to the fact there's a lot of cost involved in it. And of course, we're going to need the help of the city of Temple Terrace, since my buyer, he is a resident of Temple Terrace and he owns a business in Temple Terrace. So I think he have a first option as being a resident of Temple Terrace, and he want to stay in Temple Terrace, and that's why I encourage him and convince him to buy this property. However, we are willing to raise our offer to $1 million to buy that property. And of course, we're not going to ask for 10 years taxes. We're asking for 5 years tax waiving, and waiving of the mitigation. We have to have the tree mitigation waived, because to do this L shape, we have to move some of the trees and the impact fees. But otherwise, I think the city of Temple Terrace need to make money. They have a lot of expenditure, and they have so much employees, and I think 5 years will be good enough to stand up after we build this plaza, and after that, we don't mind to pay the taxes. That's what I'm trying to make it as short. I don't want to, talk some more. How many minutes I got left?
Okay.
Oh, this is the timing?
You should.
If this is 6 minutes left or 6 minutes past? Huh? 6 left, yeah. So I'm trying to
Don't
make it
burn
as
it,
short.
just if you don't
Yeah.
need it, we'll just spend the time.
Right,
on
right.
questions.
I'm just trying to explain to you. Now, if you want to ask me some question, please, you can go ahead and ask me a question.
Very good. Councilmember Abel.
Thank you for the presentation. My question is about if you were to leave the current building in place, you said that it would be a clubhouse. Can you tell me what you mean by that? Would it be a private club or?
It's a community club. No, just for Temple Terrace people live around Temple Terrace. There's a lot of ethnic groups, like you got the Greek, you got Middle Eastern, you got Spanish. It's mixed for everybody.
So your intention for that would be like a place that people could rent for events?
Yes, like for example, not rent. Like for example, they come and gather for dinner. They bring 20 people. For example, they have a special event. They can come in and have dinner. There's no rent, of course.
It was like a restaurant.
It's just like a restaurant type, but we're going to make some certain rooms like privacy. Like some people, they come 10, 15 people, they can have their own privacy and they can have dinner.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Council members? I have a couple of, trying to figure out if they're questions or observation. I think they're questions. So, just my opinion only, I don't speak for the council, this is just me. I like the idea of your first option better than I like the idea of your second option.
We love it too.
Well, but here's the thing, is we won't know until we agree to do this deal what option we're getting. And so, in my opinion, Temple Terrace has some needs and we have some things that we have enough of.
Exactly.
We have a need, in my opinion, and I think I'm not alone, maybe I am, I don't know, but I think we have a need for some dinner-type restaurants. We have a lot of lunch restaurants. We have lots and lots of very good restaurants in strip centers. What we don't have, besides Outback and Carrabba, we don't have a lot of sit-down, upper scale kind of places to, take your family out for Valentine's Day and that kind of thing. So your first idea, if the building is salvageable, your first idea appeals to me better than your second one, because what I think, in my opinion, again, that we have enough of is strip centers. I don't think we need another strip center. I really don't. And
Well, we thought, excuse me for interrupting you, but we thought having the club, that's plan A, actually, that's what we like. By adding, like for example, somebody want to come have dinner, but at the same time he want to cut his hair. There's a barber shop, he can cut your hair. Or he want to buy something, a gift shop or something, We can do it that way, but we prefer, there's a plan C. If the city will allow us to use as much as we can from their land, hopefully after the inspection, after the engineering, we might just keep the whole thing and expand that restaurant and make it even bigger.
right, you might.
Yes, that's a
might
questionable. Yeah, we like that. All comes back from the engineer. They said, okay, we're going to have an inspection. Okay, look, the solid, the walls is solid.
Not to interrupt you, but
Yes.
in my opinion, only my opinion, I would like this offer better if you had said, we're gonna inspect that building, if we can save it, we're gonna save it, if we can't, we're gonna tear it down and build another one on the same footprint, and this is what we're gonna do, we're gonna put a
That's during
restaurant.
the due diligence, of course.
We're gonna put a
determine that through the due diligence.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
I'm in the line with the mayor. I will tell you right now, you're gonna have to tear that building down. It's bad. There's a tree growing in the middle of it. Okay.
There's
So-
always a queue for every.
Yeah, there's a, and that could be urban legend, okay, but I think there've been eyes.
There's a tortoise living under
Yeah,
the tree.
I think no, we're not gonna worry about the tortoise, you're okay with that. My concern would be, since, let's just all say that you have to tear it down. Okay, you find out you have to tear it down. Is it absolutely off the table to do as the mayor suggested, that just rebuild on that footprint and put a sizable restaurant there? One where you can have a wedding reception?
Yes.
Or, is that
That's, yes,
But how
that's other
close to
question.
possible is that?
I was gonna, answer that. I was discussing it with my client, and he said, Nick, if we have to tear that building down, when we build an L shape, we just make half of it as a big, club, which is a restaurant, sitting down, and it's just like what we said the first one. If we have to tear it down, might as well, when build the other one, we just keep the other side is mixed and take half of it as the restaurant. They were talking about it. So if this way we can expand better actually, because the building, when we go to Plan B, the existed building is taking so much space. But now, if we take it apart, we're gonna move the L shape here, so actually we'll probably never have we're not gonna have an L shape. We're gonna have just one straight, and it's gonna be half of it, almost probably about at least 7,000 or maybe 10,000 square feet, I don't know yet, will be a restaurant, because they really wanna do a restaurant, because they have background of restaurants. They have background.
Anybody on this side?
No, not this.
Nothing.
Not yet, no, no question.
Councilmember Abel?
I like what you're saying, but it's different from what we have in writing, what we just heard. And I would want to see it, written out how you've just said it.
Well, you just asked me a question. Somebody asked me, she said there's a tree inside of it and definitely have to be demolished. We were not aware
Don't
of
take
that.
that as gospel.
Well, whatever it is, but we're not aware of that. We could mention or could brought a plan A or C, but we're not aware of it. Now we might reconsider it and just do other plan and consider it's gone. So what we're gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So, but definitely we're gonna have definitely their first choice to have a restaurant. They want to have a restaurant because they have the equipment, they have the background, they have the manpower to do restaurants.
Other questions?
I don't have any questions.
We'll have a question
yet.
later.
I have no questions either. I just was, what are we trying to do at this moment?
Well, at this
Just clearing
moment,
out information.
well, at this moment, I think it's fair, if we don't have any further questions of this applicant, then we'll move on to the other applicant and give them equal time for questions, and then we should, at the end of that, we've been about 11 or 12 minutes here. So if we're 11 or 12 minutes with them, then we should have time afterwards to have any follow-up. So, thank you very much, sir. So, yes, Mr. Berman,
Interject, if I may, Patrick Berman.
you have 92 seconds.
92? A quick fact, both groups have asked for a waiver of the tree mitigation. There are trees, the eastern boundary of the property have to be removed, just so that council understands that's a $100,000 item. So for you to absorb that cost, both groups are saying, we, the developer, don't want to pay $100,000 to remove the trees. That's $100,000 that someone's got to pay, either the city or the buyer.
So we would have to pay to remove the trees, or we would just have to waive the mitigation fees that they would normally have to pay? Okay, so we don't spend money, we just waive taking money.
Right.
Okay, all right,
Just to be
thank
clear,
you.
it's without the waiver, it's $100,000 cost.
Okay.
So if it's waived, it's zero, but I just wanted this council to be.
That's helpful to have some scope of that, thank you. Gentlemen. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. So I can remove here?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just breathing difficulties. Okay. My name is Bhavandeep Singh. I've been here quite a lot of times now, developing parcel on the north side. And I'm not a resident of Temple Terrace, but this is my first business ever started in the United States, and it starts from Temple Terrace. So have a lot of passion towards this project. Eventually, when we had Project A, which is the north, when we built it, we made shop fronts all four sides, where people can just park anywhere and walk around all four sides. And while we were doing our due diligence, we realized that the parking on the southern side is not possible because the boundary passes right through there. So the option was to take over the second parcel, which was south parcel. We took over that parcel about a year and a half from now, and which was passed by the council members. And we had no clue that we had lost it until March this year, because we were doing the due diligence, we were working on it, we were in touch with city, and eventually they said that there's enough time passed, we have to rerun it through the council. So we accepted that. Now we are here doing two proposals. The first proposal is where we make a similar strip center. A single owner, it's basically we have a option for a gym at the moment who is willing to jump in. It's a Crunch. We have an offer from them that they would like to have a gym right in the city center. And it's a full-size gym with steam, sauna, everything. And on our parcel north, this is what is planned as restaurants and retail centers. It's been 2 years, 2.5 years. We have to look at the realities. It's been 2.5 years, we haven't got a single offer from any of the restaurants. In fact, in that property, we share a common, our real estate agent is Mr. Berman's company, who has been trying very hard, and we haven't received any offer from no restaurant. Yes, we're looking forward, as soon as I'm sure, as soon as we have the building going up, it looks nice, we put up a big banner now, it will shoot up. And with the new development, or we do it or somebody else do it, it will attract more and more crowd. So that's one part of it. So in the offer one, where we say, okay, we make a similar kind plaza, which looks similar, and we have the option now, because we support our north parcel parking. If we don't have the south parcel, we don't have a cross access. That means no one from north parcel can go into south parcel if both the owners don't sit back and talk it out. And we don't have the parking on the north side. If you don't have the parking on the north side, it doesn't make sense to us for making the storefronts, because no one's parking all the way on the other side and walking. That is one of the key reasons I think we should be given first preference. Second is we have waited enough on this second parcel. Now, this project is already on its way. Today is the best day that we'll know at least where are we heading. So we put forward our north parcel accordingly. When it comes to, so on the first proposal, we have offered $911,000. We are willing to go $1,011,000 because there's an offer now of $1 million. We are desperate to take it, and we want it because of the access and the parking supporting to the north parcel. In terms of the proposal two, this is what we have done in due diligence in 2.5 years, a year and a half, where we have sat down with, can I get some water if somebody has it? My mouth has just dried up.
Sure. We'll work on that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Normally, the presentations are given by my colleagues or staff. This is the first, I'm not too much into it. So where it comes to the proposal second, this is where we are making a complete downtown look. This would just enhance the whole of Temple Terrace in a way where we would be as good as other cities. We are, but it will just take us one step ahead. It will give you a look of downtown, restaurants, shops below, residential on top of it. It's not much residential. It's only to give the looks. It's only going to be a small portion of residential on top of it. The other portion has, because we have to now cater for parking, so there's a multi-level car garage there. Event center, when I say event center, it's marriage hall, conference centers. One time, we don't have it, a very upscale one in Temple Terrace one. This would be the first one. Together to support it, we have a hotel next door to it. So now this would be like a place where people who are traveling to Busch Garden, rather than staying towards Busch Garden, they would love to stay here, where they can move around the parcel downtown, they can have fun in the night, there would be a lot of activities, and they can also visit Busch Garden. Also, we have a lot of businessmen who visit, so that would cater for that too. That offer, we'd like to keep it to $925,000. 10 years of tax exemption. We have to understand tax exemption. Right now, the property, whoever develops it, is going to generate a tax of $25,000 a year. When we develop it, the tax generation is going to be $250,000 a year. So in 10 years, if anybody pays $25,000, that's going to be $250,000. My first year, on the 11th year, we will be paying over $250,000 only on taxes. So that keeps going for years and years. Now comes on tree mitigation. Tree mitigation is within the city rights. If that can be allowed, that would be very nice. There's a lot of trees there. To have this thing, we have to really remove quite a number of trees on that side. All the others are, I think it's a reasonable offer. If we have to do, anybody who's coming with this kind of development, who's investing $20 million on a project, will ask something back from the city. This is the only thing we are asking. So now it's questions to you.
Council member, questions?
I want you to go over the waivers again.
The waivers are,
You have a long list of waivers.
okay.
On
So
the
the first waiver is tax exemption. So if we are building a normal, small, the proposal one kind of development, that we are not asking for tax exemption in that. We're not asking for tree exemption in that. We're not asking any exemptions in the proposal one. Proposal one stand as is. So all the exemptions are asked in proposal two. In proposal two, the exemption starts with 10 years of tax exemption, tree mitigation charges. There's going to be so tree mitigation, impact fees, permit fees, and easement. So there is a land toward the pond parcel, which accumulates to 0.85 acres, 0.65 acres, if I'm not wrong, plus and minus. So we would have to take that part of the pond to work on, to have this building straight lined. These are the options, these are the things.
But the reason I ask that is this waiver on all permit review issue charges on any work. And then it goes on. That.
Permit fees is very minimal as compared to the development. It's I think some percent of the development, but because there would be so many, the development on the proposal one, we're not asking for that. It's for the proposal number two, which has $20 million worth of construction on it. So only for that we're asking you. And permit fees is something within the city that they would have to look into it.
Other council members, Mr. Schister, Councilman?
This might be for Mr. Berman. What is the anticipated taxable value? Can you guess what the taxable value be after development? Could you guess what the,
Of each development, or?
yeah,
Sure. Well, Mr. Singh is saying $20 million.
Okay.
So that is the assessed value.
Right.
And you have 20 mils tax rate, that's actually $400,000 a year.
well, really, it's 7 mil, it's 6.55, but let's say 7 mils, so we have numbers, because we can't waive the county fee, so we're just talking about Temple Terrace. So,
Yeah, I just mentioned that.
yeah,
I'm sorry, the school impact fee for Hillsborough County, nobody can waive that.
no, understood.
Impact fees.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
7 mils, to answer your question, would be
7
about
mils.
$140,000. 7 mils based on $20 million assessed
Right.
value.
Okay, and that would pretty much be close for either way then, right? For either, or all the developments
Well,
involved.
the first development, Mr. Ahmad's group, I believe they were smaller development. They're looking at 25,000 feet. I don't want to speak for them, 25,000 feet.
25,000 square feet.
Right, at $200 a foot valuation.
Okay, that's
$5
because-
million.
okay,
So
so
it'd be
fine.
1/4 Mr. Singh's.
Okay.
So it's an estimation, but Mr. Singh has got 20 million. The first group has roughly
7 million.
7 million.
7 million, okay. All right, cool, thank you, that's what I needed to know.
Councilmember Chambers?
Yeah, in your second proposal, is that the one that mentioned moving electric and sewer?
Yes,
Okay, who would be responsible?
We would be
paying for that?
responsible.
You would do that?
yes. That itself is costing us $350,000 only on the electricals. TICO, we got a quote of $350,000 from them to remove those. That is the only pole existing in the downtown area. That looks very bad. And the sewage line, we don't even have a quote at the moment, but we expect about $150,000 of expense on that. So the proposal two will take a lot of, this is 20 million. We have anticipated on $100 a square feet. If we count on $200 a square feet, it's going to jump to 40 million. Right? So it all depends upon how the construction industry is going. At the moment, it's up high. We're expecting it to come back within 6 months' time. Looking at the COVID situation is going to ease up and everything comes back to normal.
Okay, thank you. I have one more, I think, for staff, because I don't know, I'm sorry. How long is our TIF still going for?
I think that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Abel?
I looked really closely at the renderings, and I kept seeing this little area that looked like a pay for parking station. Is it your intention to make parking something you have to pay for to enter the area?
No, it's just a automated, so if anybody's, for residents, it would be a card access. So if you have a card, it will just let you go in. It's not access for public. All the public access would be outside. Only the hotel and the residential would have a cross access. If you will see, there's a bridge connecting from the residential to the parking area. So that's what it's all about. It's not available to general public. General public, there's enough space, 1:3.5 at the moment for all the commercial activities. When it comes to retail section, all the small shops below. When it comes to hotel and residential, it's parking at the back of the residential or the parking garage.
Okay, but someone who wanted to go to a shop would not have to pay to park?
No, no. There's no payment anyways because residential would get it free. Even the hotel would get it free. So there's no pay park at the moment.
Okay.
Vice Mayor?
So the first proposal, you've upped your price, there are no waivers,
Correct.
except tree. You still have tree mitigation?
No tree mitigation.
okay.
There's not much of a tree mitigation on that one.
Okay, so, and it would give you the benefit of having all the space that you wanted to park?
Yes, correct.
And your buildings would mirror each
Correct.
other? Okay. And what would happen to the pond in
Nothing
Plan
else.
1? It just stays like
It
it
just
is?
stays the way it is.
It's going to use it like you had shown before?
Yes, yes. We can always sit down with the city if they want us to give us some extra parking on the pond side. We can beautify it a bit. That's on proposal 1. We can still work with that. Parking is something very, very short there. So if we can get access to the same amount of the easement area, what we're asking for, we can always have more parking. That alone easement will add about 200 car parks. So that will give, when people are coming to downtown, just across us, there's the postal office there, who are right now parking on our side. They're parking on the road, they're parking on the pavement. There's no parking there. We have to create more parking. As I said, we have done so much of due diligence on this parcel that no one can exceed the development what we are trying to achieve there.
Thank you.
Council members, anything else? Thank you very much, Mr. Singh.
Thank you.
City Manager, I think you probably know more about land development than most of us sitting up here, so what's your advice on this, or take on this?
My advice is that you choose one and talk about it during council meeting. You're not obligated to take either or none. You can certainly delay this, or you can choose to move this forward and give direction to administration to work out a contract, purchase and sale agreement with one of these developers on one of these projects. There were some things that I heard tonight that I'm not aware of in previous discussions, but those are certainly things that I think we can work out in a contract. But I am concerned with a couple things in the proposals, and that is the timeline for completion. I don't know that we want to take 4 years to build a project down there. We certainly have been working with Mr. Singh for the last couple years at least to get that project that he has underway. I certainly don't want to encourage us to take a project and drag it out for 4 years of construction. I don't think that would be prudent for us to do. It is odd and never really happened to us before where two developers end up and increase their price on us. That's one of those things that really is not supposed to happen in this setting. This was done on a closed bid process and advertised for 30 days, and it's a little unusual to start raising prices and bartering against one another in a public meeting like this. So that also concerns me.
So, Ms. Shoshone, just so everybody's clear procedurally, like, I've already goofed up because I keep calling everybody council members and I know they're agency members, I apologize, but same people, but, so procedurally, if I recall from previous meetings, this body votes whether to move any or all or none of these proposals forward to our next meeting, at which time we would have an agenda item that would follow the normal procedures for an agenda item.
Correct.
And then if we did that, then at that time, the council would vote then to give direction to our staff whether to continue negotiations along these lines or not.
Correct. And to possibly prepare a contract. So,
Okay, so in an effort to avoid, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right, go ahead.
You give us authority based on what your preference is on the projects. You give us authority to work out a purchase and sale agreement. That doesn't mean that a purchase and sale agreement can be worked out.
Okay.
You know, there may be items in there that we just don't agree upon and won't be able to work out a purchase and sale agreement. We try to. If council says we like option A, B, C, we certainly work very diligently to do that with the developer in order to get a sale agreement in front of you, so.
Okay, so in an effort not to have the same discussion twice in one evening, we would have that discussion later unless we just nixed something right now. If we voted to move all three of these ideas, or both, well, they're basically two applicants. If we voted to move both of these applicants forward, we would have that discussion at the council meeting about the things, you know, the tax deferral, the tree waivers, all the things that we might want to talk about.
That is correct.
Okay, no, sir, it's not, if I let you talk, then I gotta let them talk, and we don't have enough time. So, all right, and it also provides for public comment at that time.
But we could say, we like 1 and 1 and nix 2. We could say that here.
I think so, couldn't we?
yes.
Yes, I think so, yes.
Well, not that I watch House Hunters all the time, but you know, there's always that third choice. And
Before you make a motion, though.
no,
can
I'm
I
just
ask-
saying, that's something that I think would help the discussion later if we could narrow it down now.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Berman, we've always, I don't know about always, sometimes we change our mind 3 times a day, but we have felt as a body for a long time, and I know our staff has too, that once these apartments get occupied, once Paragon's complex gets fully opened, we have 200 people with a lot of disposable income living right there within walking distance of a lot of this property, all of this property, that we might draw different interests. We're very close to that. And in fact, they would be open already if it wasn't for material shortages and stuff like that. So we're very close to having 200 people living within 100 yards of all of this. I just still have to think that other, you know, this is gonna, interest is gonna grow. What's your feelings on that? I mean, I know you don't have a crystal ball, I'm putting you on the spot, but you do this all the time.
Sure. No, your assumption's correct. The 200 apartments should bring 300 additional residents to the immediate trade area, and that enhances the value of all the properties. With the Chase and the Starbucks development, the corner is almost done as well. So to answer your question, we did raise the price on Lot 2. That's the 1.7 acre parcel adjacent south of the Starbucks Chase. We raised that $300,000, a significant number. And we actually had an offer 1.7, but we had raised the price to $2 million even. So we've raised the pricing to reflect this growth of demand. The fact that the apartments are coming, the retail is coming, and it's a very desirable location already. You have good traffic on 56th Street, you have residential support. So certainly it's becoming more valuable. But the market's also uncertain. We're going to raise taxes next year, we're going to have capital gains taxes, they're going to get rid of the tax exchange. A lot of uncertainty coming up next year, which is 2.5 months away. So I would say I feel good about the pricing. I'm not sure it's appropriate or not, but there was a third offer that was rescinded, also in the same ballpark, that same $900,000 range. So the market's spoken on this particular south parcel, 3 offers all in that $900,000 million range. So the market seems to be telling us it's worth about $1 million.
Okay, thank you. So, council members, we're gonna need a motion here and decide what we want to move forward to our next meeting. I know we all have a lot to discuss on these. I agree with you, if there's something we're just gonna take off the table, it'll help facilitate that discussion. But we as a body need to make a motion of which, if any, of these to move forward to our next meeting to discuss.
Well, I'm prepared to make a motion
Or,
if you're finished talking. I mean, I don't want to be premature.
Okay.
No, I'm looking at faces to say, it is 10 minutes till, so
no, sir, I
the
can't,
clock is ticking on either we
okay,
move them all or we move two.
okay.
I guess, may I?
Yes, you may.
I guess I'm just not clear on when the time to discuss, like, which, like, our pros and cons for everything is. I mean, you said we can nix them now, but can we, like, say what we do like and don't like and what, is.
We could, although we're running short on time and we're likely to have all of that, because I've got a lot to say too, and I know Mr. Schistler does. I
Yes,
just know he
we all
does.
do.
And so, you can say what you want. I mean, we can talk but, we are going to have a robust discussion on whatever. So if you want to move all of it forward, that's certainly your prerogative. If you want to, it's a council's prerogative, so it's up to you guys what you want to do. I mean, if you want to move them all forward, you make a motion to that effect, and we'll have some discussion on your motion.
I
It
will
doesn't
try
lock
something.
anything in.
I don't have enough information to throw anything out yet, so I think if I want to discuss it later on this evening, I'd have to discuss all three.
Okay, I can go
So my
along.
motion would be to move all three, or move, whatever you have to do to say to move two developers, three options forward.
Second.
Okay, I'll
Did you
second
make a
that.
motion to that effect?
Yes, I did.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on?
I got one question, though, one question.
Yeah.
We move all three, doesn't mean we have to walk out of here tonight
Correct.
with any of them, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right,
The discuss, all we do is agree to have the discussion.
correct,
as
that's
a
fine.
council.
Move it, I agree. Yep.
So,
I agree
yes,
with that.
council
I would
member?
just say, if anyone wants to discuss any of these proposals, then we should definitely move all three of
Yes.
them.
I would agree. I think that's a wise thing to do, yeah. I think that's very prudent, so. Okay, any further discussion on the motion to move all of the proposals forward? If not, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays. All of the proposals will move to the next meeting where we will have discussion. And sir, I don't know what your schedule is. I know you're dying to say something more, but there'll be an opportunity if you're available to sit through the next meeting. I know it's not very convenient, but that's how, so there'll be another
Get a coffee
opportunity.
and come back.
She looks pensive,
So
she looks pensive.
Uh-huh, that's okay.
You okay?
is this, are we in trouble? Okay, all right.
Yeah, stop us now.
Okay.
Just a pensive look on her face.
Is there any other business to come before the CRA? If not, we are adjourned.